Hi, my name is Bob Gersh with East Coast Capital. And today I'd like to talk a little bit about wire transfers. Wire transfer is typically when you contact your bank and request that they wire funds to another account. Could be to another one of your accounts or could be to someone you're doing business with. In our case, we're talking about when a borrower or a purchaser of a piece of real estate needs to have funds sent to their closing people, which could be a attorney, it could be a title company, and usually it's funds needed to complete the transaction, and they need to be good funds, and in most cases, the title companies and attorneys prefer or require a wire transfer versus bringing other funds to closing, such as a personal check or a bank check or a certified check. So when you're dealing with wire transfers, the first thing you want to do is contact and speak to your loan officer, speak to folks that are handling the coordination of your mortgage or purchase, your realtor, and find out what is the desired and or required method of payment. You'll find that a wire transfer is commonly used these days. So let's talk about the two things you need to do ahead of time to be able to effect a successful wire transfer. First thing is you should contact the title company or law firm that's handling your closing or your refinancing and find out how they prefer you to send funds. They usually will give you the wire instructions. Now you want to make sure that those instructions have come from appropriate places. There are many folks who are in a transaction and get an email or get other notification that they should wire money to and have different instructions than the title company or lawyers originally gave you. Be careful. However you got those instructions, double check. Usually the best thing is to pick up the phone, call the title company, call the law firm, give them your information as far as who you are, and say, could you confirm the wire instructions? And even if you have them printed out in front of you, have them repeat them to you so you can confirm they're correct. The problem is that in a lot of cases, folks have been given wire instructions just close to the day of closing or on the day of closing, and they didn't come from the appropriate sources. They're not valid. And if you wire funds to those based on those instructions, potentially they could disappear and never get them back. So be very careful to confirm the wire instructions, not only to have them, but confirm that they are correct by contacting directly your title company and or law firm that's handling the closing. So that's the first thing you want to do. Now that you know they're correct, let's talk about the actual mechanics with your bank or other financial institution. Don't want to wait till the last second. You don't want to get on an airplane or get in your car and drive to Florida and find out when you get here that you needed to go to the branch that you are associated with for your bank account, which could be in another state, could be across the country. And if you haven't done a wire transfer before, you may find that that bank has certain requirements, including in-person initial authorization. Find that happens a lot. People don't realize it. They just assume they'll call the bank a couple days before closing and request that the money be wired, only to find out that you have to go into a branch in person. The problem is that you may be dealing with a local banking institution that doesn't have a branch near where you are currently, such as if you had made an offer on a property, it was accepted, and you are coming down to do closing, and you're from whatever state in the country you're from. I've had this where then the people, I suggest they call the bank and confirm before the wiring time that everything's set up, only to find out that the first time you need to go there in person. So every bank has different rules. So my suggestion is, when you're preparing to come to Florida, before you get in that car or get on that plane, contact the bank, tell them what you're looking to do. They will advise you what the process is, and if there's any forms to be filled out, and if you need to be there in person, which is very common. So you could go to the bank ahead of time and be able to in person arrange and coordinate for this. You may do the wire at that time, or you may just do the coordination, and then they'll tell you you could call when you're ready to do the wire and complete the transaction. But do this ahead of time, because I've had folks that have flown in, driven in to this area, and then find that when we say, okay, check with your bank, and they do, and they're told it has to be in person. And, you know, we don't want them to have to fly back or drive back to wherever they came from to go to that bank to be able to arrange things. If there's plenty of time, one thing that's done is sometimes people will actually open up a new bank account locally, and then check with that bank when you're making a deposit of how long the check has to be deposited before it's considered cleared for purposes of doing a wire transfer. Some people will write a check out, deposit it into a new account, and then whatever amount of days they say you have to wait. And then if you do that if you have plenty of time, you can do that ahead of time and make sure then the funds are available in that account so a wire could be done. But don't assume anything. Check with your existing bank if you're setting up a new bank account here in Florida at a different institution. Make sure that you have given them plenty of time, because a lot of them will allow, sometimes it's days, sometimes it's weeks before your check is considered cleared for the purpose of sending out a wire transfer. So to repeat, the two issues are to make sure you have proper instructions, double check, call the title company or law firm, and make sure the instructions are the same as you have. And the second is to work with your existing bank. A lot of times you may be transferring money from multiple accounts, multiple locations into a bank account, and then wiring them. Just make sure that you check with all the different parties. If you have a certain type of account, it may take a few days before a transfer can be done from one account into another. And then you check with that bank once the money's in that account, how long it has to have been there before you could wire it out. So different banks and institutions have different rules, but you know, check it all out ahead of time so that you can do a smooth transaction, so we can be able to work with you. And so usually it's a case of making sure that the bank that you verified you have your funds at is the one that you're going to, and making sure that everything's all set for that wire transfer. So if there's any questions or need any clarification or assistance with any of this, my name again is Bob Gersh with East Coast Capital, and you can call me directly at 352-561-3096. Again, Bob Gersh, East Coast Capital, 352-561-3096. And I'll be glad to work with you to help you, even if you're not doing a mortgage, which we're here to help you with. A lot of times it is just a case of you have the funds and you're looking to be able to do a transfer of those funds to the closing department or to the bank that you're working with for the closing of the law firm that you're working with. Whomever it is, again, it's a case of don't wait till the last second to discover that there's a time hold on funds, and or make sure you're sending it to the right place, and that you're able to, when you want to send it, that you've met all the other conditions that may need to be set up ahead of time. So that's it for today. If I can be of any assistance, if you are working with a realtor and just looking at properties, doesn't hurt to get pre-approved ahead of time, including going through the process to identify who the closing firm would be, and making sure you have the right information between them and where your funds are to make sure it's all going to go smoothly, so we can see you around the closing table when you're ready to close. Thank you for your time. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. And if I can be of any help, again, Bob Gersh, East Coast Capital. And once again, my phone number directly in the office, 352-561-3096. And please feel free to contact us anytime. If we can be of any service for you, we're here to serve. Thank you. Bye.